All right, this is one of my favorite stories. I call this my MacGyver story. The year was 1990, and my little sister and I were on our way back from California to Indiana. And I went and bought this car from a high school mechanics department. When I got it, it seemed to work okay, except the mechanical fuel pump that bolted to the engine, something didn't seem quite right. So my little sister and I are driving across country. All of a sudden, the engine dies and the oil pressure just completely goes down. So I pop the hood, get under and look, and what's happened is the neck is broken right off of the mechanical fuel pump. So now I had two problems. I had no fuel pump, and I had a big hole in the side of my engine. And so I ended up hitchhiking back and forth to the parts store all day long, back and forth trying to get the right part. And then finally at the last minute, I just told the guy, I said, give me an electric fuel pump. I'll tie it into the fuel line. And so I got that part done, and there was still this gaping hole in the engine, and we're starting to lose light now. We've been working on this project all day long. And so I was looking around, and I was scratching my head, and I said, what can I do to fix this hole in the side of my engine? And I looked down on the ground, and I saw this Schlitz malt liquor beer can. I went and I grabbed my tin snips out of my car, my hole punch. I took the little plate that was remaining from where the neck had broken off of the mechanical fuel pump, and I cut the beer can ends off, cut it down the center, so I had now a piece of aluminum. And I took that plate and I laid it on top of the aluminum, drew around it, made myself two pieces of aluminum, cut them out with the tin snips, punched the holes with my little paper, hole puncher, and put the two of them together. I put the gasket up on the engine, I put those two plates on top of it, and I bolted that plate right on top. And when I tightened it down, it worked just fine. It sealed the engine. I drove it that way for about 2 or 3 years, and then actually sold the car to a friend of mine who drove it another couple of years and then sold it, and to my knowledge, that had never been changed. It was a pretty amazing example to me of taking a problem that's not really solvable and solving it using resources that you just find laying around.